Hello my fellow enthusiasts, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to actually do this guy because I thought it would be a quick 1 to 2 minute video. However, I quickly realized that I was dead wrong. The Cyclops actually has an immense amount of lore, as well as an entire chapter within the Enchiridion that us as fans were provided, so it actually has more lore than pretty much most characters within the show itself. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So to start things off, everyone knows what a Cyclops is. It's a one-eyed monster that is usually incredibly large, buff, and not all that intelligent, but when it comes to Adventure Time, they are far more complex than that. You see, out of all of the monsters within the Enchiridion, it is flat out stated that the Cyclops is one of the most valuable out of all of them due to what they provide, which many people will assume would always be their incredibly powerful tears that are capable of regenerating all wounds. However, believe it or not, this is not the most valuable thing they have. However, we'll focus on that later. Let's focus on what everyone usually comes here for, which is the tears themselves, which we actually do in fact know the exact components that make them up. According to the Enchiridion, the components of a Cyclops' tears is cone flour, chicken soup, toad potion, apple juice, celery soda, ginseng, rocks as in minerals, and marshmallow mold. And with no way of really knowing the exact measurements of all of these ingredients, it's pretty much impossible to properly replicate the exact effects of a Cyclops' natural tears. In regard to their tears themselves, they are incredibly potent. It has been flat out stated, as well as documented, that these tears are capable of healing any wound as well as most sicknesses. Wounds that are capable of being healed with Cyclops tears include, but are not limited to, eyes that have been ripped out, organs, as well as entire limbs. And if that wasn't enough, the Cyclops' tears obviously go incredibly high in terms of the market, and you can easily sell just a small vial for an incredibly large amount of gold. Another thing that should be noted in terms of the Cyclops is the fact that almost all of them are mentally ill. The Enchiridion flat out states that all of them suffer from emotional trauma or emotional issues, and all of them cry incredibly easily. They're contrarians by nature and will actively always do the opposite of what you want them to do, meaning as long as you do reverse psychology to get them to cry, they will pretty much always cry. However, also due to this major problem, they are also incredibly known for mood swings and just flat out attacking anyone who they remotely consider either a threat or they just don't like. Meaning if you attempt to confront one face to face, one-on-one for whatever reason, there's a decent chance you will either be crushed into a jelly or you would immediately be eaten alive. There's even a caution warning within the Enchiridion that says never to interact with them first thing in the morning, at brunch time, lunchtime, dinner time, or while a Cyclops is preparing a meal, or when his stomach is growling, or when he's thinking about food in general. Now, although Cyclopses do in fact eat, it's somewhat unknown whether or not they truly need it to survive. However, as it stands right now, there's no way of really finding out. Additionally, it doesn't help that Cyclopses are known to have various variants. So what may be true for one Cyclops may not be true for another. So in that case, I best just stick to what we do know. There was additional information within the Enchiridion, but unfortunately the pages were ripped out. So it seems we may never actually know what that information is. However, for now, let's actually step away from the tears as well as the psychology of the Cyclops and focus on the most powerful aspect that the Cyclops has to offer, which is the eye itself. You see, the thing is, the Cyclops is actually an incredibly powerful magical creature, and the eye serves as a material component for a very powerful divination spell. To give you an idea of just how powerful this spell is, it is flat out stated within the Enchiridion that the spell makes the tears seem as though it were nothing but a buttload of moldy orange peels. And after reading what the divination spell does, it actually makes sense why they view the tears this way in comparison. If a wizard is able to get their hands on a Cyclops' eye and it is polished in a very specific way, they can transform the eye into their own version of a crystal ball. However, it is significantly more powerful than a regular crystal ball. Not only can it still be utilized in order to scry on other individuals, but it has a very unique power. If a question is posed while looking into the pupil of the eye, it will ultimately cause a vision that will tell you the answer if there is one present. Meaning, as long as the eye is not destroyed, you have a continuously usable magic item that will be able to answer any question assuming an answer is present. It's basically a slightly more limited version of the Enchiridion itself. It is an incredibly powerful use of a Cyclops' eye. Now, to finish this video off, on top of everything I've already talked about, the Enchiridion also allowed a step-by-step process of how to obtain and then polish the eye in order to make it usable. However, before we go over the steps, do be aware that most people who have attempted these steps have either died or lost parts of their body, so by no means does this mean that this is a foolproof plan. With that being said, let's continue. Step 1 is to obtain Cyclops tears either by buying them from a crook or obtaining them yourself. Step 2 is to stalk a Cyclops and follow him to his lair. However, do be aware a Cyclops has an acute sense of hearing, thus although the size of his stride makes it tricky, walk when the Cyclops walks to match the sound of your steps. Step 3, when the Cyclops sleeps, grab his eyelashes gently, open his giant eyeball, and carefully prop it open with a 2x 2x4 piece of wood. Step 4. Slowly shove another 2x4 under the giant eyeball at such an angle that allows you to use the board as a lever to slowly push down and pull it out. Step 5 is the actual removal of the eyeball. However, do be aware that if you mess this up, you can actually die. The eyeball, when it pops out, will move at an incredible speed, so be sure that you're not directly in front of it when doing this. Step 6 is to utilize a saw in order to remove any connecting tissue of the eyeball. Step 7 is connected to step 1, which is to pour the tears that you obtained prior into the socket, and within 30 seconds, a new eyeball will begin to grow. Step 8, get away with your life. It should be noted that the Cyclops, if it ever wakes up in the middle of this, you are most likely going to be killed, and let's say you manage to actually remove the eyeball, they will be blind, but they will thrash around wildly. So just escape as fast as physically possible if you want to avoid being turned into a literal pile of goo. Step 9 is to take the eyeball and hose down the eyeball thoroughly, removing any loose gravel or leaves from the trip home, then glaze it by firing in an oversized ceramic kiln at 500 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. Additionally, make sure it's fully cooled before you even attempt to remove it from the kiln. Step 10 is to simply remove it, and do make sure to be careful. As it stands right now, if it was fully glazed, it should look rather dull and gray. Step 11 is to obtain a polishing cloth and then proceeding to coat it with diamond dust. Be sure to either pick one that is incredibly thick or to fold it into thirds. Step 12, which is both the simplest to understand as well as the most tedious, is to burnish the eye vigorously with the polishing cloth for 20 to 30 hours or until the surface is smooth and reflective. To put it simply, it must resemble that of a well-polished crystal ball. Failure to do any of these tasks could either result in you dying from the Cyclops or just losing the main boon for why you did all of this in the first place by ruining the eye. However, assuming everything goes exactly according to plan, then that's pretty much it. You get yourself an incredibly powerful magical item or a ticket to infinite wealth. Or both, depending on how you play your cards. But anyway, that's all I got for this video and all there is to talk about the Cyclops. What did you guys think about the video? Do you think it's actually worth it to go out of your way to hunt a Cyclops? What would you do if you were able to get its eye or its tears? Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Thanks to my patrons, and as always, stay enthusiastic. I will see you in the next video. Bye.